Can you believe it's been over 4 years since The Last of Us Part 2 came out in 2020 and there's still no official details or teaser about what Naughty Dog are working on next? Now they did give us The Last of Us Part 1 remake in 2022 and a Last of Us Part 2 remaster in 2024. Let's be real here, those don't count as major releases. But here's the good part, we do have some interesting hints and rumors floating around, and it sounds like whatever Naughty Dog is cooking up next, it is going to be something really fresh and totally different. So stick around because in this video I'm about to jump into what this game will really be like and when we can finally get a first look.
Have a seat.
Okay, let's start with what we actually know. After the release of The Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog announced The Last of Us Factions. I was honestly super excited because the Factions mode in The Last of Us Part 1 was something new and refreshing, and I had a blast playing it back then. However, in December 2023, after a long 7 years of development, Naughty Dog decided to halt work on the project. They said it required too many resources for the long term, which would have impacted the development of their upcoming single-player games. Personally, I wasn't happy at all with that official statement and felt like it didn't tell the whole story. And then, few weeks later, more information surfaced. Turns out, Bungie, which Sony bought to help PlayStation Studios create a series of new online multiplayer games, wasn't too impressed with Factions. They reviewed the game and found it lacking. So you are telling me that Bungie and Sony took a look at Concord, a hero shooter, and thought it was going to be the next big thing. And guess what? Bungie is struggling with their upcoming game, Marathon, which has already been delayed internally from 2024 to 2025. Personally, I still believe that if Factions hadn't been cancelled, it might have turned out well. It's not like Naughty Dog is new to multiplayer games. Both Uncharted and Last of Us had multiplayer modes in the past and they were generally well received. I could just go on forever about why Factions should have been released, but let's shift our focus to what Naughty Dog is working on next. So even though the multiplayer project got shelved, they have still got some big things in the works. Naughty Dog has confirmed they are developing not just one but multiplayer ambitious single player games. So what exactly are these new projects? Well, one of them is a brand new single player title and the other is The Last of Us Part 3. Neil Druckmann himself confirmed that he has a concept for The Last of Us Part 3 that he finds just as exciting as the first two games. It's been about a year since The Last of Us Part 3 was announced, but it's likely still in the early conceptual phase and not expected to be the studio's next release. Instead, all signs point to Naughty Dog focusing on a brand new IP for their upcoming game. Now, if you're curious about what this mysterious new IP might be like, we do have some hints. Druckmann mentioned that he's been heavily inspired by From Software's Elden Ring, especially its minimalist storytelling and environmental design. He's really intrigued by the idea of letting players figure out the story on their own, but he also reassured everyone that the character-driven story and the cinematic style we all love will still be present in future Naughty Dog games. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how this Elden Ring influence plays out in their future projects. It's fascinating because From Software and Naughty Dog game designs are totally different, so it's interesting that Druckmann is drawn to a game like Elden Ring, which lets player explore freely and doesn't prioritize specific story beats. According to Druckmann, this new IP is shaping up to be something truly unique and innovative. He said he wants to keep experimenting, trying things that are both a bit new and a bit different. He has also acknowledged the difficulties in creating this next game, describing some aspects as really hard. But everyone at Naughty Dog is excited and committed to push the boundaries with this new IP, as according to him, this project is incredibly ambitious. Now recently, Ben Hansen from MinMax shared some new information about Naughty Dog's next big project. He heard from a source that Naughty Dog's next game is going to give players a lot of freedom. And according to his source, we are all not ready for just how mind-blowing this next game is going to be. Now that little phrase, a lot of player freedom, definitely makes me think it could be an open world game, something Naughty Dog has never done before. But this shift to an open world game feels like a natural evolution for them, especially since they have already introduced more open-ended areas in the latest Last of Us Part 2 and the recent Uncharted titles. And considering how deep their gameplay usually is, an open world game could be a brilliant move to keep us playing for even longer. I mean, The Last of Us Part 2 had incredible gameplay, but because of the game's linear design, it's not the kind of game you can just casually hop back into just for the gameplay. If their next game does turn out to be an open world game, it will be a significant change for their traditional approach, which has always centered around curated cinematic experiences. But here's the thing, If anyone can make an open world game that still feels cinematic with over the top set pieces, it's only Naughty Dog. Still, I get it, there's a tiny bit of concern here. Open world games are everywhere right now, and the gaming market is definitely saturated. Also, let's not forget that Naughty Dog is amazing at linear storytelling, and not many studios are making those tight, narrative-driven games anymore that a lot of us really miss. It's like every game right now has to be this massive RPG with huge and often empty open worlds. So it's really refreshing to get a game that isn't that for a change, right? Plus, Naughty Dog has proven time and again that they are the masters of linear game designs, delivering some of the best since Uncharted 1 in 2007. But you have to admit, before Uncharted, they excelled in platformers, so they have successfully changed directions before. And now if they do decide to go for an open world style, who knows, they might just blow our expectations out of the water. I mean, this is the studio that goes all out on tiny details. Even the little things in their games get so much attention. Maybe we'll end up with a game that beautifully combines the best of both worlds, some crazy intense linear sections and a top tier open world to explore. Alright, this next detail is a bit worrying, especially for me. In The Last of Us Part 1 remake, players spotted a fantasy themed artwork that many believe might be hinting at Naughty Dog's next project. These pictures seen on notice board shows mythical scenes, a woman standing beside a white deer and even a flying dragon. The artwork is so detailed that it feels intentional, leading to speculation that it could be teasing a new fantasy IP from Naughty Dog. This theory also has some weight as well, given the studio's track record of subtly hitting at upcoming titles. A good example is a newspaper in Uncharted 3 that actually foreshadowed the fungal outbreak in The Last of Us before anyone even knew the game existed. But some of this fantasy style artwork also showed up in The Last of Us Part 2. However, it wasn't in the original 2013 version of The Last of Us. This raises the question of whether the art is just a placeholder or if it really is a teaser for their next game. Honestly, I hope those images don't have anything to do with a new Naughty Dog game. They look cool, but I'm not keen on the idea of them diving deep into fantasy, magic, or supernatural themes. I think Naughty Dog does its best work when things stay grounded, focusing on real emotion, gritty narratives, and believable worlds. So, when can we expect a first look at this new IP? Well, we know it's been in development for over 4 years now. This information comes from a now deleted YouTube panel with Neil Druckmann, where he mentioned that this current project has been underway since 2020. Now 4 years sounds like a long time, right? But here's the thing, AAA games now usually take anywhere from 5 to 7 years to develop, so realistically we might still be a couple of years away from seeing the final product. And yeah, Naughty Dog's decision to cancel Factions definitely impacted their timeline, but the team likely gathered valuable insights that they will surely bring to future titles. As it stands, Naughty Dog's next project is already well along in development, with a potential announcement as soon as 2025, aiming for a release window in 2026. Also, here's another interesting tidbit. Druckmann has full creative control over the project, but when it comes to announcing the game, that's all Sony's call. So it seems like the timing and the reveal of the project will be entirely in their hands. Now lastly, I just want to tell what I really miss about Naughty Dog. It's their crazy productivity. They were the only studio out there that could consistently deliver a 90+ Metacritic game every 2 years. Seriously, every 2 years. So I genuinely hope they could continue with their tradition of creating tightly focused, linear story-driven experiences instead of leaning too heavily into the crowded field of open-world RPGs. With that said, I'm still interested to see how they might combine their narrative strengths with more open-world gameplay possibilities in the next title. But what about you? Are you hoping for a more of that classic tight narrative experience, or are you excited to see them try something new? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you are here, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.